What's up, guys? This is Aragorn. BlizzCon is only a day away, so I wanted to throw together a quick video talking about my predictions for what we'll see there tomorrow. To start off, I think it's basically guaranteed that we'll see the announcement for the next WoW expansion. It's that time of the cycle again as Dragonflight shifts into the latter half of its lifespan, so that's just expected to me. I'm not entirely sure what to expect in terms of theming, but a lot of signs and some leaks seem to be pointing towards something dwarf themed, which would be pretty awesome to me because I love dwarf lore. I don't think we'll be getting that Azeroth revamp that a lot of people are predicting in 11.0, but I do think it's pretty likely in 12.0, so there's a good chance we'll see some story teasers that might point towards that too. In terms of what's left for Dragonflight itself, I think it's looking pretty likely that we're not getting any content in 10.3, if we even get a 10.3, so I expect that we'll be getting something similar to Faded raids that we had at the end of Shadowlands, although hopefully with something different to change it up a bit. If that's where things are heading, then I really hope we're getting the next expansion sometime in summer 2024, because otherwise the content drought is going to be way too long yet again. I also expect to see them reveal Classic Plus and Hardcore TBC. Not entirely sure what Classic Plus might entail, but I'd love to see new dungeons and maybe even some new raids and new zones too. Would be cool to see some of the old unfinished content from Vanilla get utilized, like Mount Hyjal and other similar areas as well. Hardcore TBC should be pretty straightforward and probably a pretty easy win. Hardcore Vanilla was really popular. I had a blast with it. I actually still need to try and finish that up myself. I keep dying. But just adding on the Outland zones and adding in the new races, the new race combinations, that could make the challenge even harder and in some ways a little easier too. But that could be cool. Obviously, they're going to be showing off Warcraft Rumble a ton too, given that the app launched today. It was supposed to launch the first day of BlizzCon tomorrow, Friday the 3rd, but I already have it available on my phone. I haven't actually checked it yet, so maybe the servers aren't up yet, but it is available to open the app on my phone, so that's pretty cool. And hopefully they do some more tie-ins with WoW, like the one they already did, because that was kind of neat, and tie-ins are always fun. Speaking of tie-ins, I wouldn't be surprised to see them reveal some new cross-game events coming soon. They've been pushing those a lot lately, and I think it's likely to see even more of those going forward, especially if they get the go-ahead from Microsoft to start doing crossovers with their IP as well. We have things like Halo and all of the Bethesda IPs, Gears of War. There could be some really interesting crossovers with Blizzard IPs. As for Diablo, we're definitely going to get a look at Season 3 for Diablo 4. That's all but guaranteed, given that they talked about Season 2 pretty early into Season 1's life as well. In addition to that, I think we're going to get a reveal for the first expansion too. I think there's going to be a new Holy type class, given that that's been a staple of the franchise since Diablo 2. Blizzard stated that the next new class won't be anything we've had in the game in any of the games before though, so that kind of rules out Paladin and Crusader. We already have 2 intelligence casters and only one of each of the 3 main stats for other classes, so I don't think it's likely we'll get another one, but we could still get some sort of wisdom-based priest or acolyte or something similar. I don't think a strength-based class is likely, given that the 2 that would make the most sense would be Paladin or Crusader. And as for dexterity-based class, I'm not really sure what could fit the Holy theme other than Monk, which we've already had in Diablo 3 and Diablo Immortal. If you guys have any cool class ideas, share them with me down in the comments. I'd love to check them out. All of the existing classes will probably get 1 to 2 new abilities with the expansion, as well as 1 to 2 new Paragon boards, which would be pretty cool for making possible builds even more diverse. Especially new Paragon boards. Paragon boards are always pretty fun to work around with. I have a feeling Season 3 is going to come out before the expansion, and the expansion will launch about 2 to 3 weeks before Season 4 is expected to start, so that people have time to play the new story content without having to worry about start of season racing or anything like that. Season 3 is supposed to also add a new grindable endgame activity alongside a leaderboard for players to compete on. I'm thinking it'll likely be something similar to Greater Rifts from Diablo 3, I'm hoping they also buff the endgame bosses, especially Duriel and Lilith, since they're supposed to be pretty challenging, and they really aren't in Season 2, and I think that's mostly just because they kind of missed the mark with rebalancing the game around the resistance and damage changes they made. It'd be pretty cool if they also added some more better loot to Uber Lilith, because she doesn't really drop anything particularly good, which is mostly because you can spam farm her. There's no restrictions on how many times you kill her. So if they did that, they'd have to put some kind of gate in front of fighting her, similar to Duriel, and they could probably link that to the new endgame grind that they're adding. That'd be pretty cool. For anyone who hasn't finished the Diablo 4 main story campaign yet, just like a quick spoiler warning. It's nothing crazy, but just in case. So the Diablo 4 story left off with Neyrelle leaving the Wanderer behind with Lorath and taking Mephisto's Soulstone with her. I have a feeling the first expansion isn't actually going to have anything to do with what she's doing. I think Blizzard is going to let her story cook a little bit before we get back to it and have us deal with some other big existential threat in the meantime. I highly doubt Blizzard wants Diablo 4 to only wind up with one expansion like Diablo 3 did, especially given that they've said before that they'd like to do yearly expansions if they can. As for what the story of the first expansion will actually wind up being, I'm hoping for something that takes us somewhere we haven't been before. I really don't want them to try and do some nostalgia-laden return to like a Diablo 2 area or something like that, especially because I think it makes more sense to save that for when we deal with the Mephisto storyline, where we can return to Kurast and Travancore and maybe even the Durance of Hate. That'd be pretty neat. They'll probably mention the Microsoft acquisition at some point too, so they can hype it up a bit and talk about what it might mean for Blizzard going forward. Would be really cool to see WoW go onto the Game Pass, and would bring a massive influx of new players to the game, which would be really good for the game for sure. And that's pretty much all I've got for you today. I can't really speak a whole lot on Overwatch or Hearthstone, as I don't really play those games at all, and I don't really keep up with their news either. But I'm sure they'll have some cool things to talk about, like new heroes and new decks, etc. Hell, maybe Hearthstone will even finally get Monk as a playable class. If you guys have any predictions of your own that you'd like to share with me, put them down in the comments and I'll be sure to check them out. Also, if you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe, as it helps me out a lot and it'll get you notified when I make more videos. I'll definitely be making another video after BlizzCon to talk about everything that we saw. Be sure to come back to this video after BlizzCon's over and see what I got right and what I got wrong. See you then.